For the first couple weeks after, it was really hard on me because I was trying to remember. I was extremely grateful that no one else got hurt because I wouldn't have been able to live with myself if that happened.
I didn't have a clue what was happening. I just remember looking at the time and waking up a couple hours later in the ditch.
My name's Adam Foreman. I go to TF Riggs as a sophomore. I'm in basically every musical thing you can do besides choir. I bowl competitively and I also shoot competitively. I got my license at 14. I got my learner's permit, and then at the beginning of my freshman year, I got my restricted, which means I could drive by myself.
I'm Cassie. I'm 17. I'm from Freeman, South Dakota, and I go to Marion High School. I went through driver's ed when I was 14 and I got my license, and that was in 2014. And I got my first car when I was probably last year is when I got my first actual car. I enjoyed the freedom. I was always a worried driver, and I think that made me a little more anxious about driving.
It was October 26th in the morning. All I remember right before the crash was realizing I was in the wrong lane, overcorrecting, then overcorrecting my overcorrection, and that caused the roll. I think I passed out for a little bit because when I came to, it was I had to catch my breath.
We were going to a basketball game, and I ended up going and picking up a friend from Sioux Falls. Well, I missed my turn, so I took a road I didn't know. So what ended up happening is she was changed in the radio station. I was trying to get her to go back in her seat. None of us were wearing seatbelts at that accident. And when we were driving, she screamed, and then that scared me, so I overcorrected and we went to the ditch and rolled my car a couple times.
First, I'd like to say I got 3 really cool kids. Adam came along a little bit later than his sisters. My cell phone rang. I looked down at it and I didn't recognize the number. But when it rang, it was kind of one of those weird little feelings that said, answer it.
I had to climb through the driver's side window. It was kind of that thing where it's just please be a bad dream. I want to wake up. I just don't want to let this not be real.
And when I answered it, a lady from our church had been 2 cars behind him. And she was the one that called me. Adam was able to tell her the number. And what I heard was, Adam's been in an accident. I've got him. He's here. He wants to talk to you. Sorry. As a parent, the cool thing about that call is Adam could talk to me. The reason he could talk to me because he was wearing his seatbelt.
It kind of hit me wow, I just messed up, I failed, I guess.
I broke my arm in several places. My boyfriend fractured his neck from whiplash, and then my best friend, she was actually ejected from the car, and she has road rash on her face, and it caused some of her pieces of her nose to go missing.
And I got stitches in this side of my face, and then I got this little thing right here. And then we were in the ICU because I had a slightly collapsed lung.
I pay more attention to driving now. I wear my seatbelt. I will not touch my phone at all, and I usually don't drive with other people because that's what really got us in the accident. Is I was more distracted by the other people than actually paying attention to the road.
Just wear your seatbelt, please. I mean, you don't. For people that have never been in a crash, they don't know what it's like to scare your parents like that. It's maybe once you get older you'll understand, but your parents are just I could have just lost my kid.
Always pay attention to the road. Always put your seatbelt on and just save the phone for later. It's not worth it. And also, if you're gonna have friends with, make sure they're in their seatbelts and not distracting you.
You could be going to the ER or you could be going to a morgue almost. It's that big of a difference. Do you wanna be here a year from now and have fun and be with your friends, or do you wanna be 6 feet under?